Hello, this is Bridget Rao with Divine Essentials. Hi, Divine Darlings, how are you? I have the camera out pretty far. We're going to be doing a little reading here. I'm using the Life Purpose, Life Purpose Oracle by Doreen Virtue, and then I have my Divine Tarot here. And I figured we'd just mix it up a little bit today and do something a little different. So basically, I'm going to just see what comes through in regards to like career, obviously, purpose, passion, things like that. So if it resonates, it resonates. If it doesn't, it doesn't. There may only be little bits and pieces that resonate and then other parts that don't. So, you know, see if something in here is meant for you. And if not, I apologize. But there is a lot of different cards out, so there's a lot of different opportunities here. Now, first card that came out was Animals, and it says, you understand animals and communicate with them intuitively. Trust your inner guidance as the animals are part of your life's work. So I feel like you could be like I am with animals and be very, very connected to them. I don't obviously work with them, but I have. I've worked with them. I worked at pet stores, actually a lot of different pet stores. I was a manager for PetSmart, and I worked at Petco, and I was like head of the fish department at one of them, and then at another one I was just like a regular employee. I worked at this place in Bridgewater, sort of the towns where I live. That was like Park Avenue Birds. They had a bunch of exotic birds and fish and things like that. So I've always been connected. I grew up on a farm with horses and everything like that. So I've kind of always had my connection. And now I have 6 wiener dogs in my house. And it doesn't feel like that much to me because I grew up, you know, with my aunt. My Aunt Bridget had 27 horses and all these dogs and craziness. So it doesn't feel that crazy to me. So you may be like that and not feel that crazy around animals. You may be like wanting to do vet tech work, or, you know, work in a pet store, or work as the management of a pet store, or start your own store, or start your own, you know, like breeding thing going on. Just as long as you do it responsibly and you make sure the animals are healthy and you make sure the people that are taking them are going to be good to them. I don't see anything wrong with being a breeder. I know a lot of people have, you know, mixed emotions about it, but it's like the other option is a fucking pet store or a pet mill, and that doesn't seem any good to me. So, you know, as long as a person does it right, I think it's okay. But there's also the whole spiritual path where you could be an animal communicator, where basically you go to people's homes and you communicate with their pet to figure out what's going on with them intuitively, because a lot of people out there are not intuitive for some reason. Like the more that I connect with people, the more I realize it. I'm like, oh shit, you have absolutely no intuition. Okay, let me help you. So you may have to do that for people in regards to their pets, or you want to do that in regards to people for their pets, so that the pet doesn't suffer and struggle and be like, because I always know when something's going on with my pet. Like, I know if they're depressed, I know if they're bored, I know if they're just being a dick, basically. You just know. So I feel like somebody out there may have that gift, or be able to use that gift or turn that gift on. If you've always been connected to animals, but you didn't really realize that you could kind of intuit what they need, or what they're thinking, or what they're feeling, you can do that. And then just if you're a Reiki healer, you could become a healer for pets, where if the pet has been depressed or the pet has been sad, maybe the pet lived with another pet and the other pet died, and ever since the other pet died, that pet's sad. It may just need you to come in and you know, do some healing with it. Basically, they're just like us. They just can't speak, so they need someone to speak for them a lot of times. And even just saying that, you know, with this protected card beside it, you may be somebody that could help with like the homeless pets, or the pets that are in, you know, put into what do you call it, when they get put into that place, like their little prison, and they don't have blankets and they don't have food, you know, stuff like that. Get them the blankets, get them the food, donate stuff. If you have old clothes you don't want, or old blankets you don't want, you can donate that stuff to animal shelters, and try to help out like in your local area, because a lot of them suffer. They struggle throughout the winter. They struggle just to like get the health care that they need, and you may be somebody that can help protect animals that are in need of it. Then we had books come through. And so this one says, you connect to your life purpose through your involvement with books. So I was picking up with this, that like some of you may have a book inside of you to write, or some of you may have, you know, books that you're reading that are going to really help you to, you know, figure out what it is that you want to do. Because I also underneath there have study. It says reading, research, and education help you gain confidence and clarity about your career. So you may be somebody that just needs to grab some books and figure out like what you want to do, or figure out how to, you know, incorporate two things together, or figure out the elements that need to be, you know, figured out in order to do whatever it is that you want to do. Like if you want to work with animals, you may need to figure out like what the laws are in your state, and figure out what the conditions are that you have to have, and how big of a space you need to be in. Sometimes you need to have like permits and things for certain things. But a lot of times people just do shit without realizing that, and then they're like, oh no, I'm in trouble. So whatever you do decide to do a little education on it, or do a little bit of research within it to figure out if you're going to do it right. You know, I just saw someone the other day doing stuff that, like, they're not doing right at all, and I tried to kind of, like, nicely guide them a little bit and be like, you probably want to do this differently because you're going to get in trouble. But sometimes people don't listen, sometimes people don't care, sometimes people get away with it because there's so many people. So, try to be one of the people that doesn't do that to yourself or do that to other people, because it does impact other people depending on what it is you're doing. You know, if you're doing something that's like being a healer or a doctor, obviously you're going to need some freaking education, right? You're not going to just walk into the freaking place and be like, give me a scalpel and just do whatever. It depends on what you're doing, that, you know, you might need a book or two to figure it out. But it's worth putting the time, energy, and effort in. Every time I educate myself on something, no matter what it is, it always pans out very well. It always helps. Like, I just did something to my Etsy store the other day, and then I showed my sister today. I sent her 5 screenshots, and I was like, look at what a little effort does. So it's what you just put a little tiny effort into stuff, or a lot of effort into stuff, but as you go, you'll find that it takes a little bit less effort for certain things, and then more effort on other things. It's like if you're starting something out, big effort. When you get to where you need to be, a little bit of effort. Like, I don't have to upload to this channel as much as I used to when I was trying to get, you know, bigger amounts of subscribers. Now we've got the big amount of subscribers. It's more about maintaining them rather than, I don't want to hit 1 million or anything like that, because that's just way too many people. But it depends on what you're doing and how you're doing it. You might want to balance those things out of your, you know, education and your effort that you're putting into whatever it is you're wanting to do. Then we have speaker here, and it says your life purpose involves your skills of oration. So some of you may be able to, you know, write a book and then go do like seminars about the book, or maybe you know, go talk to groups of people about animals, or you go and you know, study something and learn about it, and then speak about it, you know, tell people about it, bring awareness to some sort of cause or some sort of thing that it is that you find you want to be protecting, and you know, fighting for freedom for people, fighting for children's rights, fighting for, you know, whatever it is that you feel moved within to do, or whatever it is you feel guided to do. Because we all have something inside of us. So you may be really good with speaking to people. You could be somebody that could be a counselor, which is really funny, because when I was putting these cards out, I swear to God, I didn't intentionally put them this way. Like, I just went boom, 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 and just made them look nice. I didn't realize that they were like aligning. Like, you could be an animal healer, you could write a book or study a book, you could speak or counsel people through speaking. Like, I did not mean that. So this shows me that this is divinely guided. But like I was saying, you could be a counselor. It says you heal with kind words, wise advice, and an empathic ear. So like, you know, you could go out and speak to people about career changes, about how to talk to their angels, about crystals, about whatever, or you could sit one-on-one with people and just give advice. You know, just, you could even do tarot reading, where I feel like tarot reading is almost like a form of counseling for people sometimes, because depending on the questions I get, depending on the readings I do, it can definitely feel very counselor-ish. Even the conversations that I have with people one-on-one outside of readings becomes counselor-ish, and I honestly should start charging sometimes for the things that I do, because it depends. Like, some people I can talk back and forth to, like, on a friendship level, and then other people it's just like, help me, help me, help me, help me, help me, and I need. And so you want to be, you know, careful with that. If you're somebody that finds yourself in this position a lot, like you're the counselor for all your friends, and you're the counselor for your family, and you're the counselor for people you don't know, just random strangers and whatever, you know, put yourself into a position where you can start having financial, like, gain from that. You know, like, start giving out a card to the people who are talking to you. Be like, here, you can set up an appointment and I'd be happy to be your life coach. Or here, you can set up an appointment and I'd happy to give you a reading. Or here, we can set up an appointment and I'd be happy to just talk to you one-on-one. But I get, you know, my time and energy and efforts require some sort of, you know, compensation. It may be difficult, it may be uncomfortable, but the more you do it, the easier it will become to make sure that you're being, you know, recognized for what it is that you're doing. And then we had career change, and it says you're embarking upon a career that brings you the joy and abundance you desire and deserve. So it's kind of like what I was just saying, like if you've been doing something or you've been really liking something, you know, I was just talking to someone recently, and like the both of us love to write. I've been trying to figure out ways to bring writing into what I do to, you know, be part of my career. So now with my crystals, I write activations for the crystals. When I do automatic writing, I get to do writing for the messages that come through from the Divine Masculine. When I do right now I'm making a tarot journal type of thing, where it's like helping people to find oneness with themselves and to love themselves and do what they need to do, which will, you know, eventually help them to get to a union somewhere else. But it's basically more so focused on union with self. But I also have a twin flame union like book, like a workbook for people to do as well. I just got to get them out of my notebook and onto the computer so that people can download it like they can with my manifesting journal. These two are much bigger, more elaborate, like you've got to do a lot of work with them. But I make sure that I figure out a way to get my writing into what I'm doing so that I can make sure that I'm being, you know, bringing the desire that I have inside of me alive, and I can bring the abundance that I deserve inside of me. So just try to figure out or brainstorm what ways you want to bring in, you know, writing a book, or what ways you want to bring in speaking about something, because you can be a paid speaker and go all around and travel and like go to these amazing places and just do a quick seminar, and then you're on a little vacation somewhere and you're being paid to speak, but you have to start doing it. You got to start setting yourself up to be put in that position. And it's, again, one of those things where you might need to study to figure out, all right, where do I want to go to, like, tell people about this? Where do I want to be the counselor of? Like, what do I want to speak on? What places are going to, like, you know, be good places for me to try to go to speak at? You know, start getting yourself out there on social media, start getting yourself, like, a following, start making little speaking videos where you put them up on your YouTube. You know, just do whatever feels right to you to do, and talk to your angels here. It says, instead of worrying, ask for divine guidance. So instead of worrying about, like, how do I do it, what do I do, just ask for divine guidance. And, you know, the things that you need to know at the time you need to know it will usually show up. Sometimes things take a long time, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's never going to happen. And then we had crystals come through, which was funny because I just literally had 2 huge boxes over here that show up full of crystals. And I'm just like, yay. So that's what I've been doing. It says your connection to crystals and gemstones is a channel for healing energy. So I know that for sure for myself. That's what's been happening, is like I'll get a crystal and I activate it, charge it up, and then I write the description for it. But when I get the crystal, I look at it. Like, I order them from people that don't necessarily know what they have, or even if they do know what they have, they're not, like, talking about it. So when I get them, because a lot of times I can only see like one picture, or I'll only know that I'm going to be getting X amount of what I'm getting. But when they show up, that X amount of them, like 90% of them are like fancy dancy, special, got all this shit on it that makes it special. But I had to research and figure out, what does this mean? What does that mean? Like, when you look at a quartz, I used to just look at quartz, but now when I look at quartz, I'm like, oh, there's that, and there's that, and there's that, and there's stuff inside, and there's a thing on the window, and that's called a window, and that's called the wall, and there's a rainbow in there. You see the rainbow in there? The rainbow is because it got hurt at one point, so it's an empathic warrior. But basically just studying, and then also intuitively bringing in the information that comes through with them, because sometimes like it will feel like it has Arcturian energy, or sometimes it will feel like it has Pleiadian energy. And so then I do the activation once somebody gets it, and whatever person is getting it, I tune into their energy and the energy of the crystal to let them know what they need to know in regards to the crystal. So you can literally take anything and turn it into something different, you know, like you can sell crystals, but you can do it in your own way. You can sell candles, but you do it in your own way. You can sell whatever you want to sell, make a book, do a tarot journal, do whatever, but do it your own way and make it unique and make it special and make it matter, make it something that is going to help people, because that's what we need to do, is be in service. If you want to succeed in anything and makes a difference, it's like, just do something that's going to be in service to people in some way, that's going to help either inspire them, make a difference in their life, is going to help solve a problem. You know, like you can come up with a product that solves a problem. Like, hey, I made this cleaning spray that literally gets rid of this problem. Okay, I want that. Or hey, I made this thing that gets rid of whatever. Like, this is going to make it easier for you to cook, or this is going to be like the meal guide to your food, or this is going to, whatever you want to do. But you got to kind of figure out the genre or the place or the little niche that you want to focus on. For the most part, I focus on love and things like that, but I also do the star seeds, and I also like do whatever, and that's just like under the spiritual umbrella. So pick an umbrella that you want to work under, and then try to figure out, okay, like, where's my focus at? Because obviously in the community that I work for, a lot of people like crystals. Obviously in the community that I work for, people are going to be down with some candles, you know, with intentions infused into it, because they're spiritually aligned. But also, like, in the community, sometimes there's going to be star seeds, and sometimes there's going to be twin flames. So I try to, like, incorporate things that both people can benefit from, because whether you're a twin flame or whether you're a star seed, this reading might help you. So you want to figure out how to do that stuff. Here's some more crystals. So then we had over this side, protected, and it basically says you are safe and supported while you change your career. So we've already had career change come through, and now we know that you're going to be safe while you do this. So as long as you talk to your angels and you go with your gut, you have the freedom to do what you choose. You don't have to stay stuck. You don't have to do something you don't want to do. Even if you do something you don't like right now, start doing something you do like in your free time. Maybe you're tired when you get home from work, but if you ever want to get out of that work, if you ever want to make a difference and get somewhere better, start doing it in your free time. You know what I mean? Like, when you get home from work, start writing. Or when you get home from work, start reading. When you get home from work, do whatever it is that's going to help you to know the information that you need to know, or to start making those phone calls out to the places that you could possibly speak to. Set them up for weekends that you're not working, or the days that you're not working, so that you can do it. You might be tired, it may take effort, it may take a little bit more stuff in the beginning, but once you start doing it, once you start getting there, once you start making the waves happen, you will be completely supported to switch over entirely, and then you can make an unlimited amount of abundance for you. Being on your own, doing your work, is a much better place to be, I find, because you're not getting paid a certain amount, you're not getting told what hours to work, you're just doing what you want to do, when you want to do it, how you want to do it, but you got to be responsible for yourself and say, like, do I have enough money in the bank right now to go sit on my ass for 2 hours, or should I spend those 2 hours working on something? Do I have enough, you know, following right now to not worry about posting something right now, or should I get out there and post something so that I can get more of a following? And as you go with the time, you usually find that over time it gets a little bit less, you know, like, you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to do, like, you got to grind to get things started. But then once you're there, it's kind of easier, because you just flow into it. You just know what you're doing, and then you can incorporate new things. Like, I'm constantly bringing in new shit. I'm constantly coming up with new things, but I, you know, will take one thing away to take another thing in. Like, I stopped doing the tarot private readings for a little while just because they were completely draining me, and I just couldn't do it anymore, because I'm sick of the whole, like, counseling the same people over and over and over with the same messages, you know what I mean? It was like, every single thing was, is this my twin flame? 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 It's like, I don't want to answer that again. I need a break. So you may find that that happens too, where you know, get a career where you'll have the flexibility to play back and forth and do different things. Hello, Alcyon. So then we have children here, and it says, your life purpose involves helping, teaching, and healing children. So some of you may be really drawn to kids, or you may have kids, or there may just be a reason or a need for kids to be. I find that in the spiritual community, especially, there's not a whole lot of shit out there that teaches kids stuff. You know, like, they have everything out there in the world to teach kids, but when it comes to, like, chakras, when it comes to, like, you know, sacred geometry, the only thing I found close enough was spirit science. But even his stuff is like a little advanced, like hard for an adult to follow along sometimes. So I'm assuming that it would be difficult for a kid. But his is like done as like a cartoon dude. But, you know, there's definitely a need for it, because I've seen classes and things like that. But then there's a whole block of like the parents not taking them, or the parents not signing up, or, you know, stuff like that. And now we've got the whole pandemic. So I feel like a YouTube channel would be really good if it was just aimed at kids. You know, to teach them about crystals, to teach them about energy, to teach them about chakras, to teach them about whatever, animal stuff, to teach them about energy healing, to teach them about all the different things that you know about, or all the different things that you teach yourself to teach them. Because you can literally teach yourself as you go, as long as you have enough content to go ahead and start. You know, like, get your basic stuff written down, like, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and then, you know, if you have 6 months of content that you think you can pump out like a couple times a week, then start. Or even if it's just a couple months. But if you only have a couple months to start with, start educating yourself so that you know that you can start giving more information as the time goes on for kids. Which isn't hard, because it's very basic. Like, you just only need to know the basics, and then you can do the more advanced stuff as you go. So basically, you'd be teaching yourself as you teach the kids. Okay, sorry, I had to message back my dad. Alright, so then we had some tarot cards here, and the first one out was Temperance, and it was basically about balance. So I feel like some of us, like I was already kind of saying, we just need to maybe balance what it is that we're going to be doing, or what we're thinking about. I forgot this card. Time to decide. It says, make a decision based on your heart's true desires. So basically, you may need to like balance things out, and you may need to come from your heart rather than your mind, or rather than your pocketbook, you know, because sometimes people go to jobs that they really don't want to fucking do, but they're like, oh, but if I'm a doctor, I'm going to make $1 million, and then they hate it. So they end up not wanting to do it, and they end up wasting all that time, energy, and effort that they put into becoming one, because they literally just cannot do it, or they do it such a bad job at it, they get fired, or they end up having a like lawsuit where they get, you know, malpractice or whatever. So instead of doing that, basing it out of money things, or, you know, oh, I'll be popular things, or ego things, base it from your heart, and, you know, try to find balance within stuff. Because I do feel like for a lot of people, especially in the beginning, we've got to balance, and we gotta, you know, bounce those balls around. I remember when I first started, you know, living on my own, and, you know, things hit the fan with my community around here, because like my channel started getting bigger, and I started having people travel to see me, and things were doing really good. And then I get this beautiful home to live in with this big huge yard to do fairs in, and I had a studio in the basement, and it was going to be perfect, and everything was going to be great to continue doing what I was doing. Shit hit the fan, and my friends, who I thought were my friends, were like, screw you, we don't like you anymore, and just like kicked me out of their little club. And basically I had to go drive for Uber so that I could afford to pay my bills and still do what I do. But it was at the same time that like things were starting to take off with my channel, so then I could start to like make money from my channel, you know, and start doing private readings for people. So I ended up, you know, switching pretty quickly. It wasn't like I was driving for Uber for 5 years miserable. I only had to do it for a short time, and then that that whole cycle changed, and that energy balanced out. So, you know, find your way. Sometimes you're gonna have to do things you don't want to necessarily do. I actually had fun doing it, because I ended up being that counselor again. I get drunk people in my car at 1 o'clock in the morning crying about their boyfriend, give them a card, they end up watching my channel, you know what I mean? I found a lot of people were guided to me specifically to pick up for a quick ride, that ended up being a counseling session where they were like, oh my god, I'm so happy I met you, and this was amazing, and you changed my life, you know, like out of a freaking Uber drive. I was actually thinking when I did it to do like a video thing, because you know how sometimes people do videos of their drives or whatever. I don't know about all the licensing and things and permits and stuff like that and getting permission, but it would be a good idea for a psychic, if anybody out there is psychic or a tarot reader or whatever, to do like, you know, psychic drives. Like I was basically a psychic driver, because they were like, what do you think about this guy? And they'd tell me their little details, and I'd be like, well, it sounds like blah, 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 blah. And they'd be like, oh my God, that's exactly it. So if you have that ability, do it. Or try it out, you know, see if you can come up with something similar to that. As long as it's different, and as long as nobody's done it before, most of the time you become successful within it, because a lot of people will be like, wow, this is awesome, I've never seen this before. So a valuable new start, where it's like, you might have to juggle around some things, but it's going to be the ending of a chapter, an ending of a cycle, an ending of, you know, a certain part of your life where you've maybe been doing things that haven't been up in alignment with what you want to be doing. So, find your passion, find your purpose, find what makes you feel fiery and alive inside, and then make the decision based off of that. And with the Three of Cups, I feel like some of you have options. You have plenty of options that could lead to celebration. You know, any of the things that I talked about tonight really aren't difficult. If you want to do it, do it. If you want to start out, you know, you just start out. I mean, Etsy was life-changing for me, because before I was just like, you know, doing my stuff, and I wasn't talking about my sprays, I wasn't talking about my blends, I wasn't talking about any of the candles or things like that often. I was doing the candles like once a year, and just like posting them and saying, email me if you want one and I'll send you an invoice. But that was kind of like, you know, very limiting. It was only to the people who are on my Instagram, and it was, you know, just a small little collection of people. I was doing really good with it when I did do it, but when I put them onto Etsy, it was like much more professional, it was a step in the right direction, you know. But sometimes we got to start off balancing and juggling and doing little things here and there. It's like, all right, I'm going to make a post and I'm going to sell these to 5 people, and then once I get used to selling to 5 people, I'm going to start figuring out how to sell it to 20 people, and once I figure out those 20 people, do it to 100 people, and once I figure out the 100 people, I'm going to get to the 500. You know, you just keep scaling and keep growing and getting help and asking. You know, maybe you'll need a 3rd person to be part of something, or a 2nd person to be part of something, but you basically just gotta start somewhere and start where your comfort zone is. You know, I was just talking to someone the other day who has a YouTube channel, and you don't get monetized until 1,000 subscribers. So she was like, I can't do money thing, like I can't do the reading thing and get paid yet. And I was like, yeah, you can, because that's how I used to do it, and I've seen other people do it, is you just have somebody donate through PayPal, or donate through Venmo, or donate through whatever the 1,000 cash apps that they have out there. And if somebody wants one, they'll want one, and they'll pay. Especially if you're not charging, you know, thousands of dollars off the get-go. But what I usually do with my readings on here, if I do a live stream, is I'll say, hey guys, this is basically free, but if people donate, I usually end up seeing the donation questions, because they're all highlighted in yellow or blue or whatever, and that's why people who pay usually end up getting them. But I try to do them free, but you know, that's when you hit the monetization level. But never let what the situation is stop you from making money. Like, that's one thing that I'm really good at, is taking any situation, and my family like jokes about it, because I'm like, I turn everything into money. I'm able to look at something and be like, we can make money with that. And I think it's the Capricorn in me, because I got a Capricorn rising and a Capricorn moon, and then I'm Taurus sun, so I can be a little lazy at times, but I'm a very hard, stubborn worker, and I just get these weird ideas all the while that I feel are divinely guided, that always end up bringing abundance about. So, you know, try to just go with the flow and listen to the little thing inside, because I'm sure there's got to be other people out there having ideas and getting inspired and feeling like, oh, I would love to do that. So just do it. Don't wait. Just do it. Be the person that's in control. Be the person that makes that judgment call. Be the one that feels like you're good enough to have it. Like, feel, you know, stable and connected and balanced, and, you know, all of those things. Because she's just like, I feel like this is where a lot of you are headed. You get the King and Queen of Pentacles and the Knight of Pentacles. So it's not going to happen overnight, right? But you're going to end up in the right partnerships with the right people, in the right places, with the right job, with the right career, the right opportunity, and the right things that just go along with it. And you're going to like figure out which thing to throw out, and what thing to keep, and what thing that you want to do, and what thing you don't really like to do, that you thought you wanted to do until you did it. And once you figure it out, you'll be sitting pretty and in this place of like abundance, and, you know, knowing your value and knowing your worth, and telling people what that value and worth is, and how much you expect to be compensated for it.
and how you're going to, you know, bring it out to the world, whether it's with kids or animals, whether it's with speaking or writing, whether it's just, you know, being divinely guided, working with crystals, working with people, you know, being a counselor, being a life coach. Like, these jobs are things that you could literally go become certified and do, and it doesn't take that long. Like, I became an advanced aromatherapist, and it was only a couple of weekends that I ended up going to this class. Like, I paid a good amount for it, but it wasn't like, you know, thousands of dollars, and it wasn't like thousands of hours. It was just learning what you need to learn to do what you want to do, and it's basically intuitive from there. It was like, all right, you know, I'll look up and feel like, all right, I need to do... A lot of my recipes just come divinely guided. Like the Pleiadian Passion, I knew immediately that it was going to be the ingredients that were in it for the reason that they are. And then other ones, like migraines, I was like, all right, which ones are good for headaches? And I looked at the list, and then I knew lavender, peppermint, and rosemary were the 3 that I wanted. So I pulled those, and then I pulled other ones that are supposed to be good for it too. But I sniffed these ones together and smell how it smells, and I was like, oh, that smells really good. And then the other ones, I was like, let's see how it smells with that. Like, hell no, we're gonna keep these 3. Keep it basic, keep it simple, keep it easy, and it works. People love it. I've had people who are like, oh my god, it fucking works. So as long as it works, and as long as it's divinely guided, and as long as it's like somewhat, you know, you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, like you're supposed to label that stuff, you know, tell people what's in it, so if there's somebody that's allergic, they don't die. If you're, you know, gonna sell something, even if you just handwrite your labels in the beginning, because maybe you don't know how to make labels, go on frickin' Google, go teach yourself how to make your labels, go teach yourself where to get your bottles, go teach yourself where to get your oils, go teach yourself where to do what you gotta do, or go to a class that will teach you all of that in one little class, and then go from there and get your stuff and do what you gotta do. And you got a career change, and you can put it up on Etsy, and you can start off small, and you can start off simple, and then as time gets on, you decide, all right, I'm going to add some more products in. I'm going to do, like, I'm going to be bringing in a chakra, what do you call it, like a chakra set, where it's going to be clear bottles this time, and they're going to be sparkly bottles. I haven't figured out the labels yet, because I don't know if I want to do the brown squares. I might just get some white labels and, you know, do like a little color background, root, you know, sacral, do them all different colors, like red, orange, purple, green, based on what chakra it is, you know, just have a little bit of that color on there somewhere, somehow, and, go from there. Or maybe I'll get black, but then I don't know how to print on black. See, I'm always coming up with stuff, but then I don't know how to, oh yeah, I could just, alright, I know what I would do. Alright, so yeah. And you have places out there that will print for you, that you can literally just send a design in and say, I want, you know, a roll of 500 of these and a roll of 500 of these. If you're going to do like a big product line, though, that may not be the most cost-effective way or the best way to do it. Like what I do right now is I get like 700 of these for a set price for like 40 bucks. And then I can print on them whatever I want. So my candles get the black background, and then my bottles get just the beige with black writing. So I save a lot of money with ink, and I only print when I need, you know, like I print out enough so that it'll last me a few months at a time, but I still have tons of them left, and I can use them in different ways. And I pick that color because I try to keep a color scheme. So you want to brand yourself, you want to put yourself out there with a brand, you want to put yourself out there with like theme. You don't want to just be all willy-nilly, so that people do recognize you. So like pick the font you want, pick the little like icons that you like, and I'm a very creative person, so it's hard for me to just be like, hey, this is going to be the design I use forever. But I try to pick things that are similar to each other so that people know that that's Bridget when they look at it. Like you know, when I post my thumbnails, when I post my pictures on Instagram, like my Instagram is just all you can tell that like that's pretty much me. And I try to keep it consistent, but sometimes I get sick of something, so then I'll switch it up. But it's still got like an element. Like I always use the Cinzel font, or I always use like a certain little background thing. But people get used to it. People can come to expect that out of me. So you want to come up with stuff like that too, that will have a little bit of consistency behind it, or a little bit of like a theme behind it. Now I'm starting to do things where I send out like a little bag, has purple, you know, paper with it, and then, you know, I get the purple bags for the crystals. So there's a theme there too, because I got the purple, brown, and, you know, black that I pretty much am consistently with, pretty much across a lot of stuff. Even just decks. You get the purple, the black, you know, and then the brown. So hopefully this has assisted you guys a little bit to just have a little bit of like an idea of like where to start, even just because like even coming up with your brand, you know, think about what it is you want to do, what you want to work with, and then come up with your brand and like how you're gonna come across. Like, what do you want the name of your business to be, or do you want it to just be based on you? Like, if you're the speaker, then it would be your name. But what color scheme would you want to use? What kind of fonts do you want to use? What kind of, you know, logo would you want to have? What kind of feeling do you want to give people? Do you want to give people the feeling of like excitement and happiness and joy and goofy and whatever? Or do you want to be more serious and like more, you know, luxury feeling, more, you know, balance feeling, and, you know, things to that nature. I'm always like going back and forth and evolving. It's a very hard thing for me, like branding, for some reason. I'm not like, it's the one area that I'm like, I don't want to brand myself into one category. I think it's because I like to do so many different things. But even me can be an example to you that you don't have to be branded into a little corner. You don't have to be stuck. You can do whatever you want to do and, you know, change things up. Like, I've changed my logo, I've changed my fonts, I've changed my shit thousands of times. Nobody left because of it. They may have got confused for a minute, but they didn't be like, oh, I'm out of here because she changed the color of her shit. At least I haven't known about it, but maybe they did. Who knows? People have left for dumber reasons. So, yeah, that's basically it, guys. Hopefully this will assist you a little bit with figuring out your career moves. If you're somebody that wants to make a career move, or maybe it's inspired you to make a career move, or it's inspired you in some way to incorporate a new thing, or to start the new thing you were thinking about doing, or writing, or, you know, speaking, or whatever. However, I don't know. I gotta get these guys up, and I gotta get those guys out of the box, and I gotta record the video for, I still haven't recorded the meditation for last weekend, and we're already at a new weekend. So I'm gonna have to do that. And then the next video for Alcyon Light Healing, if you guys are part of that, is channeling energy practices, which is gonna be fun. So hopefully I'll be able to get that going and get everything else going. I don't know how I'm gonna do it all, but I'm gonna do it. In Munay, namaste.